and you don't necessarily need to have a record label anymore. Don't release your song after Thanksgiving, which is like the last weekend of November. You don't make a big of an impact anymore on your streams than you used to the fan. And now we figured, okay, we need to go from the band to the fan immediately. And funny enough, during the tour, raffles don't work. The sky is the limit. So this works like magic. Over the course of 6 months, we grew our database with over 400%. It all starts with a simple like.
Друзі, давайте починати. Я, власне, Мар'яна Мокринська з Всеукраїнської асоціації музичних подій. І ми з вами хочемо якраз разом спільно зробити нову історію в українській музичній культурі. Заради цього ми запросили певних спікерів, для того, щоб ми всі разом навчалися і робили тільки більше і краще. Разом сьогодні з нами, з нашої команди, це Олександр Санченко, це наш президент асоціації, і Влад Єремчук, який є менеджером по роботі з партнерами, власне. І ми зараз хочемо трошки розповісти про нас, трошки познайомитися з вами. Власне, почне Саша, потім продовжимо ми. Ми будемо достатньо швидко, бо я знаю, що ви дуже сильно чекали сьогоднішнього вечора, і для того, щоб ми скоріше почали навчатися разом з вами. Саша?
Дякую, Мар'яна. Вітання всім. Радий бачити в цей четвер вечірній час. І, значить, є жага до цікавих знань. Від мене буде тільки декілька меседжів, як вже мене представили. Я Олександр Санченко, президент Всеукраїнської асоціації музичних подій. Нам дуже цінна ця історія, яку ми з вами сьогодні починаємо, адже це є таке продовження Music Ambassador Tour. Я впевнений, що далі в презентації Мар'яна про нього розповість, який ми робили вже декілька разів і намагаємося відкривати очі і давати можливість бачити, що відбувається в Україні представникам музичної індустрії, для того, щоб вони несли це далі в своїх країнах і підтримка України не зменшувалася, але фокусуємося саме на музичній індустрії. І, власне кажучи, це буде ряд освітніх заходів. Сьогодні перший з них, і це буде Caroline Westendorp. Важко інколи буває з прізвищем. Це комунікаційниця, менеджерка з Interpretation. А також в наступних заходах це буде Руперт Верекер, він CEO DIY Magazine і видавець DIY Magazine, CEO DIY Music, Томек Хоук, співзасновник та AR Coastline Northern Cuts і букінг-менеджер Electrum Up to Date Festival. Тобто всі ці люди, вони або були на наших Music Ambassador турах, або вони дотичні до команд, як Caroline, яка представляє як комунікаційний менеджер з Interpretation. І, власне кажучи, частина команди з Interpretation була на одному з таких турів. Тут важливо, певно, проговорити, що ми як асоціація також займаємося різними нормотворчими історіями, питаннями відстоювання інтересів музикантів на національному рівні. І, власне кажучи, є інструментом того, щоб музична індустрія мала голос на національному рівні. Дані просвітні заходи – це наша інвестиція певної як асоціації в те, щоб ви, як учасники і учасниці музичної індустрії, мали більше знань, розумінь, і наша музична індустрія України, так пафосно, напевно, буде звучати, але мала більше шансів на успіх, бо успіх і складається з успіху кожного з вас. На цьому вступне бюрократично красиве слово завершено. Радий, що ви з нами. Сподіваюся, що ті освітні курси, які є реальними практиками музичної індустрії, дійсно допоможуть вам стати ще крутішими, і Україна буде звучати сильніше на міжнародній арені. На цьому передаю слово Мар'яні. Прошу.
Більше загальна інформація про нас, хто ми і що ми. І, власне, хто такий Всеукраїнська асоціація музичних подій. І що вона робить? Ми найбільше об'єднання представників музичної індустрії. Зараз 2 секундочки. Женя, у нас все добре зі звуком? Бо я себе чую. Наче все стало окей. Так от, ми найбільше об'єднання в Україні музичної індустрії, яке об'єднує фестивалі, промоутери, майданчики, лейбли, виконавців, квиткових операторів і так далі. Нам уже в цьому році буде 5 років. І ці всі 5 років ми намагаємось покращити стан музичної індустрії в Україні і намагаємося створювати проекти, які будуть працювати над удосконаленням того, що в нас є, і створювати одночасно інші. Я буду достатньо швидко, бо в нас всього 10 хвилин, тому в режимі польоту. Тобто ви можете побачити, насправді, які у нас є зараз члени асоціації. Це фестиваль «Атлас», це Tower Media, це гастролі UA, ПМК, Помітні і багато класних і цікавих імен з української музичної індустрії. Тому з нами точно буває цікаво. Але війна внесла свої корективи. З 1 березня 2022 року ми створили нашу ініціативу Music Saves Ukraine, яку, власне, багато знають людей з Європи, і не тільки з Європи. І наша ціль якраз зібрати кошти через співпрацю з фестивалями, артистами, музичними колабораціями, для того, щоб ми могли допомагати як в гуманітарних напрямках, так і відродженням української культури. Зокрема, ми зараз працюємо над тим, щоб покращити нашу і освіту, і підтримати якісь будинки культури чи музичні школи, які постраждали внаслідок російської агресії. Зокрема, на наших сторінках ви могли побачити нашу історію співпраці з Бородянським будинком культури. Музичної школи вже немає, там є тільки зараз вся їхня діяльність зосереджена навколо будинку культури, але тим не менш це такий важливий поінт, який ми вирішили підтримати для того, щоб діти могли навчатися і могли створювати щось новеньке і щось інше. Крім цього, ми допомагаємо українським музикантам і виконавцям. Наш Влад активно якраз приймає участь у багатьох конференціях, і в тому числі не тільки Влад, для того, щоб наші артисти могли представляти Україну за кордоном. Тобто частково наша робота пов'язана в тому числі з експортом, для того, щоб ми могли нагадувати про те, що в нас триває війна, і про те, що Україна – це дуже класна країна з великою кількістю талановитих музикантів з якісною музикою. Це одна із таких наших невгласних цілей, заради чого ми робимо це. Якщо говорити про цифри, то на зараз це більше, ніж 560 тисяч євро, на які ми спрямували як на допомогу гуманітарну, так і на допомогу будинкам культури чи музичним школам, і організували, зокрема, багато заходів і унікальних проєктів. То я вас закликаю насправді підписуватися на наші сторінки для того, щоб ми могли ділитися цією інформацією більш ширше і не за 10 хвилин. Так. Трошки більше про співпрацю, про те, що ми робимо. Тобто за фактично майже 3 роки ми співпрацювали з представниками або з фестивалями чи конференціями з 27 країн. Тобто на зараз це 41 колаборація з міжнародними музичними фестивалями, де ми приймаємо участь як фізично, так і віддалено. Тобто це ті всі фестивалі, які підтримали Україну якимись різними способами, чи франдрейзинговими компаніями, чи запрошенням українських артистів, чи просто висловлювали публічно свою підтримку. Крім цього, у нас було 35 колаборацій з музичними конференціями, шоукейсами, і одна спеціальна подія до Дня Незалежності України в Вільнюсі у 2022 році, яка була організована спільно з мерією міста. І це така дуже тепла подія для мого сердечка, насправді. Якщо говорити за останній період, за останнє літо, тобто це в нас 15 колаборацій з європейськими фестивалями, 8 фізично плюс 7 дистанційно. Трошки більше буде Влад говорити про Music Ambassador Tour і про наш фільм, і про те, навіщо ми це робимо. І крім цього, ми прийняли участь в дискусійних панелях за участі, ми приймали участь у 5 подіях на різних фестивалях саме в дискусійних панелях. Тобто ми говоримо про конференції на подіях самих. Ну і нас підтримали, крім цього, німецький артист Діарце. Це 60 тисяч кожного вечора, кожного дня це був солд-аут. І це така класна історія про колаборації з артистами і про те, як вони можуть підтримувати Україну. Крім цього, у нас достатньо було за нашу таку невеличку 3-річну історію саме ініціативи Music Saves Ukraine, то в нас були класні колаборації з Едом Шираном і з нашими членами асоціації антитілами. Тобто всі пісні з роялті цієї пісні, вони надійшли нам, це близько 79 плюс тисяч євро. Крім цього, саме з метал-сцени з нами співпрацювали з гуртом Годжіра. Це таке дуже приємне і тепле знайомство на фестивалі в Франції, де нам подарували гітару. І ми змогли разом спільно з ними її продати на аукціоні і всі виручені кошти зосередити на допомогу Україні. Ну і найкраща колаборація цього року для нас – це співпраця with Temptation. Зйомка кліпу, привезення вперше. Шерон приїхала під час повномасштабної війни, і мені здається, що для України це був такий великий знак підтримки, тому що не так багато артистів погоджуються приїхати зараз в ці військові часи. І трошки вже більше така фінальна моя частина – це сама така база, ґрунт, основа створення Music Ambassador платформ. Тобто з самого початку у нас був проект, який ми сподіваємось продовжувати. Ми його вже робили 2 рази. Тобто суть проекту в тому, що ми привозимо від 7 до 13 організаторів найбільших музичних заходів, або менеджерів артистів, або самих артистів. Ми їм робимо тур по Україні по прифронтових містах, або в містах, які постраждали внаслідок військової агресії. Показуємо реальні наслідки того, що відбувається, знайомимо їх з людьми, проводимо, можливо, хтось був на наших заходах під час Music Ambassador Tour, бо ми ще проводимо дискусійні панелі. Тобто є можливість як української спільноти поговорити з класними спікерами, класними людьми і класними експертами за кордону, так і їм познайомитися трошки більше з нами. Якщо говорити про цифри, тобто у нас було 2 тура. Перший відбувся в 2022 році, і це було 7 гостей з 6 країн. Ми відвідали Херсон після 3 тижнів після деокупації, і це таке дуже став важливою поїздкою як для нашої команди, так і для всіх тих гостей, хто до нас приїхав. Тобто, і крім цього, в цьому році ми вже проводили тур. Наступне це було 12 гостей з 11 країн. Зокрема, якраз був Роберт With Temptation. Він приїхав через тиждень після того, як ми відзняли відеокліп разом з Шером. На жаль, ми не змогли його зробити в тому масштабі, як ми планували, тому що тоді якраз співпало з дуже великими обстрілами Києва, так і в цілому України, зокрема Харкова, куди ми планували їхати. Через це ми його зробили в більш такому меншому форматі, бо все-таки наші спікери та й ми хвилюємося за їхнє здоров'я, за їхню безпеку. Тому вирішили не ризикувати і поїхали максимум це по Київській області і до Чернігова. Власне, в мене все. Я старалась максимально швидко для того, щоб нарешті ми змогли послухати Влада і прекрасну просто Керолайн з її просто неймовірним досвідом. Я впевнена, що це має бути точно цікаво і вам, і нам, як команді, тому що вчитися завжди потрібно і завжди розвиток – це така база, ґрунт, знову ж таки, і декілька організаційних моментів. Ми вас попросимо перейменуватися так, як ви зареєстровувалися, тобто ваше прізвище, ім'я, щоб ми розуміли, хто точно відвідав цю лекцію. Після закінчення ми вам надішлемо протягом декількох днів запис цієї лекції, для того, щоб ви могли повторити, засвоїти цей матеріал, не знаю, задати якісь самі класні моменти. І також ми надішлемо вам опитувальник, дуже просимо залишити зворотній зв'язок, як вам сподобалось, що вам не сподобалось, для того, щоб ми могли це виправляти і ставати кращими. Для вас в тому числі. Дякую. Влад, твоє слово.
Всім привіт, я Влад Яремчук, менеджер по роботі з партнерами в Music Saves Ukraine. Дуже дякую, що ви з нами. Як вже згадувалося, цей наш проєкт Music Ambassadors Platform – це пряме продовження того, що ми робили з Music Ambassadors Tour. Наші люди, колеги з Європи, артисти, організатори фестивалів, вони всі приїжджають до нас на Music Ambassadors Tour, щоб подалі якось ще глибше допомагати Україні. Це все дуже залучені до цієї теми люди. І, зокрема, того, що вони нам допомагають збирати гроші, привозити українських артистів на свої фестивалі та робити якийсь інший екшн за кордоном, ми вирішили, що вони нам також можуть допомогти своїми унікальними фантастичними знаннями, адже це люди, в яких просто нереальний досвід є в індустрії. І хочу звернути увагу на те, що ось це наша буде перший сезон такий Music Ambassadors Platform. Вони всі це роблять безкоштовно. Це їхній такий внесок, підтримка нашої індустрії, підтримка вас. Вони розуміють, що в нас зараз все дуже складно, але нам дуже потрібно і важливо зараз мати якісні знання, щоб ви могли втриматися в індустрії, і щоб коли нарешті війна закінчиться, наші артисти мали абсолютно все, що їм потрібно, щоб потім завойовувати весь світ своєю музикою. Я тепер переключусь на англійську, трошки представлю Caroline. So Caroline is the product and marketing manager at Within Temptation. She's came quite a long way herself because she was starting in a band as well. So she has seen this industry through and through from all the different angles. Our history with Within Temptation, starting from the full-scale invasion, comes from, well, first and foremost, the band was supposed to play Atlas Festival before the war, but because of COVID, it didn't happen. And then as soon as the invasion started and we created Music Saves Ukraine, part of our team was also working on big international telethons called Save Ukraine, Stop War. and we were reaching out to all kinds of artists that we worked with before, asking them to record a live video to support Ukrainians or do something like that. And Within Temptation responded, probably the first one to respond. They recorded an incredible cover for Ukraine very quickly with the Ukrainian flag. We showed it across 40 countries, and that was incredible. And then in between, the band was dedicating a lot of music to Ukraine and its fight. They were supporting fundraising, including fundraising for drones even, which, as a lot of you know, is just impossible for many artists because they're scared of supporting things like that. But Within Temptation have their heart where it matters. And then we met at Eurosonic. I had the chance to talk to Caroline, and we saw how incredible she is at sharing her insights and the incredible work that she does. And we caught them up on what we've been doing as Music Saves Ukraine. And that led to Sharon actually coming to Ukraine because they already recorded the collaboration with Alex Yarmak. And since we had that meeting, the idea came that maybe they can actually come and shoot the music video in Kiev. So we decided that our whole team can help. We introduced them to Indy Haid, who then produced the video. We've been there to catch Sharon and just make sure that she feels safe and she wants to do it. And then immediately after the video was done was the second Music Ambassadors tour, and Robert from Within Temptation came. And then all the royalties from the collaboration with Alex Yarmak, it will be sent to Music Saves Ukraine, and we will be doing humanitarian aid with it. Since then, the band is taking Blind Aid on their international tour. They just released a song with them. And there is just seems that there will be so much more that we are doing Within Temptation. And one of those things is today is a beautiful lecture from Caroline on how to build out your fan base, how she does marketing for the band, and all the insights that she has to share. So without further ado, Caroline, thank you for doing this for us. And now it's up to you.
Oh my God, it's exciting. Thank you for the great introduction. And everybody, thank you for having me today and also for attending this lecture. This is something I've never done before because, yeah, it's kind of like you're always on the background of things. But I'm just gonna run you guys through of what my job is as a product and marketing manager for Within Temptation. Yeah, I'm just gonna kickstart our way into it. So, my name is Caroline Westendorp. I'm the product and marketing manager of Within Temptation, who you guys happen to know now. This presentation, I will shortly do a rundown of what I do. I'm gonna give you a short introduction about me, how I met the band, how we came across, because that's kind of a funny story as well. I'm gonna kind of line out the role of a product and marketing manager, what my day-to-day job is, what we do as a band, how we promote the music, basically, and how we build our own database. Because in the nowadays trends, we see that it's very important to build your own database and deepen the connection with the fan, and that's something that Within Temptation is very successful with over the past few years. And then I'm just going to line up a few marketing basics, which are very easy and accessible for every artist, every young and aspiring band that don't have any budget. But here's a few tips and tricks that we've seen work over the past years for the bands. So yeah, a personal introduction from a middle singer on stage to music manager off stage. Years and years and years ago, I was in a band myself, which was The Charm, the Fury. We made metal, and we were doing quite well. We toured Europe, America, Mexico, and we eventually signed a deal with Nuclear Blast. And we got to be with the same management as Within Temptation. And our manager back then thought it was a great idea to introduce our band to Within Temptation. And as you see, they have their heart for like young and inspiring artists. They're pushing Blind Aid very much right now. And back then they kind of did the same for us. And they shared their expertise and their songwriting with us. So together with them, we wrote the record, The Sick, Dumb and Happy, got released on Nuclear Blast as well. And kind of in return, they needed a fresh new air for their marketing, mainly their online marketing. And I believe like back then it was really something like, how can I make us go viral? It was all about going viral with good articles, with snappy content and such, which is, by the way, nowadays still ongoing. But I think the internet back then and the fact of having to go viral to get seen was back then like pretty new. So they invited me to join the team to see if I could make them go viral, which I'm not sure if we ever did. This is my previous band. It's pretty metal. Oh, I think there's something with the screen right now. Ooh, we're in a blank space right now. So that was my band, The Charmed Fury. We wrote a record with them, and in return, I joined the team with Them Temptation to see how we can speed things up and take things to the next level. So you probably all know with Them Temptation, but a nice recap is they've been around for 3 decades. They released over 8 albums and a total of over 4 million copies. Physical copies, physical products. They've won numerous awards, MTV awards, TMF awards, Revolver Awards, and lots of gold and platinum statuses for their records in multiple countries. When I joined the band, they decided to go DIY. They didn't feel that the needs of a record label were aligning with their needs. So that's when we decided to go ahead and release a series of independent releases. Maybe you know them, which are Entertain You, The Purge, Shed My Skin, Don't Pray For Me, and these singles all peaked in the top 20 of the US Billboards and also the German charts. So yeah, the band went from being pushed by a record label to, okay, let's go fully DIY. So that's kind of like where my job has started with them and has grown to the position that it is right now. Because back then we didn't know one single thing about having to go DIY and how do we push our own material. But I guess over the years we've kind of sorted it out ourselves, and it resulted in a great presentation about my daily jobs. Sorry. So one last song you probably know with Them Temptation from is their latest single with Alex Jarmak. After them, they did a feature with Blind 8, but this was an official with Them Temptation release. I will show you a snippet. Just the print screen at the end. So I'm gonna walk you through my position as a product and marketing manager. To recap it, I do product management, marketing management, developing our own channels, and growth hacking them. It all sounds very posh, but what does it all mean? It simply means that you start with a demo and a concept of a single or release. Like in the purest, most simplest form, I can line it out. I get an email with a demo and also a concept. So what I want to point out is what to bear in mind when you're an aspiring artist and when you want to push out your music. I'm just going to start with like the basics. Nowadays, Spotify is the new radio. Therefore, Spotify edits are really a thing in the music industry. Make sure that the first 5 to 10 seconds of your single have a hook, have a catchy thing, have a catchy break, because you need to keep people wanting to listen and keep listening to your song and not skip it to the other next song. So an integral part of having a good song that's going to be picked up by the algorithm of music platforms is having a strong start. So no long intros, no fade-ins, kick-started right from the top. This is actually the concept that I got in my email from the song Wireless, which is one of the singles that is on the Bleed Out record from With Indentation. It's a song about a soldier that goes to war, convinced that he's going for a good cause. So it's basically about Russian soldiers that are being indoctrinated, but really being fooled by the government. And this is also another important thing to bear in mind when you are releasing a single. Press always asks, what is your story? What is your band about? What is the thing that you want to state? And that's the hook that the press is going to take and is going to write about. You can have a great look, you can have a good single, but if you don't really have a story to tell, then press will not likely be interested. And then you take it to the next step. From the single and from the concept you have, you create a story. So what are the hooks, both musically and story-wise, and what will the press eventually write about? What is your statement? And you create a great press statement of that. You design artwork that things will shoot your message towards the audience. You like the photo shoots, the video shoots, and you create marketing assets from all of the above. The main thing that the industry works with is an electronic press kit. Was a press kit back in the days. I think we would just simply make a box with press statements on papers, CDs with a promotional album or a demo, and send it out to our press relationships. But luckily nowadays everything goes online. So an electronic press kit, and this is what you send out to the relations you want to work with. But first, before you do that, of course, you need to distribute your music, and you don't necessarily need to have a record label anymore. You can distribute it through numerous of parties, such as Fuga, DistroKid, TuneCore, Lender, and AWOL. These are simple but very effective companies that have a software that push your song or your album out to all these music platforms. And even they nowadays offer additional services such as online marketing, such as print press promotion, in return for a cut on your royalties. So it's basically, they offer kind of like a recipe and you can add your own ingredients into it. And the way we work together with Fuga, and we only use them for the distribution of our music. But furthermore, we do all the press and the print and the online promotion ourselves. So if we follow Fuga, we have to go to the first step, and that is pitch our story to the DSPs. The DSPs is an industry term of the music platforms. So a DSP is, for example, Apple Music, is Spotify. So Fuga distributed to Spotify Music, and in the backend of Spotify Music we have an artist backend, and there it says, so tell us about the single. And I believe nowadays about 10,000 songs are released per day, so it's important to position your song the best way possible. So you need to pitch it. So the most important thing is going to be, what is your song about? What is your story? What makes you different from the rest? How are you going to promote your song? How much budget are you going to promote your song with? Are you going to push it on all relevant social media? Are you going to push it to press, to radio? So you pitch it to the fullest, and you just pray to God that a music platform such as Spotify will put it in a great playlist. And then you start planning and do a marketing development strategy. So set your goals. What goal do you want to reach? For example, if you have 1 million listeners per month and you want to increase by 10%, you want to hit the 1.1 million listeners per month, how are you going to reach it? And also analyze the target audience. You want that 10% of more listeners. Is this going to be the same list sort of listeners you have, lookalikes, or do you want to appeal to a younger audience? Analyze your target audience and check where you can find them. Which social media do you use them? What do they listen to? Where do they hang out? And then you schedule the release timeline. And scheduling a release is pretty interesting and pretty relevant. There are just a few things to bear in mind. For example, don't release your song after Thanksgiving, which is like the last weekend of November, because then if you want to make a hit in the US, everyone will already be out of the office celebrating their holidays. Don't release in December, because in December, all Christmas playlists will take over. A lot of people are actually already out of the office, and they will most likely not play your release in between all the sappy Christmas songs. And also don't release later than maybe mid-June, or at least where your summer holidays start, because during summer holidays, people tend to not commute to work anymore, and you see streams, the amount of streams decreasing by maybe 20%. So you really see a dip. So scheduling is a very good thing to bear in mind. And when you have this all sorted out and you have a plan, then outsource it to local press, radio, and TV promoters in the countries that you want to appeal to. And also to the press promoters that you think fit your band and fits the target audience that you want to reach. So what does the result look like in the name of With Them Temptation? The print and radio promotion just as is. So you see With Them Temptation on the cover of Metal Hammer UK, on the cover of Metal Hammer Germany, Aardschok, which is one of the biggest metal magazines in the Netherlands, and for example, Rock Hard France. I gotta say, the results of getting all these cover features blew our minds. It was more than we'd expected to get. However, my personal opinion is that with print, you don't make a big of an impact anymore on your streams than you used to, because of course print is kind of dying. It's being taken over by online. And it's hard to measure. Like, I guess print is great for what we would say profiling, and profiling means that it's great to get to say that you're on the cover of Metal Hammer, that you're on the cover of Rock Hard France. So I guess it's a good look that in return will appeal to more press, to more people, and hopefully snowball effect into more streams. But one-on-one, it's too hard to measure if print still has the same effects as back in the days. And I'm not really sure if it still has the biggest effect. In terms of radio promotion, you only have a few countries in Europe, which is Germany, which is only Germany, I guess, where the audience still actively listens to alternative radio. So we still do radio promotion in Germany, but for the rest of the countries, we're pretty limited and we only use print promotion. So what do you do when people are saying offline media is dead, and when we think that we are not sure how print features affect our streams? That's why we take it to the next level, and we invest our time and money in paid online advertising and in pixel-based advertising with remarketing flights. So what is this? Paid online advertising is as easy as advertising your content on Instagram and on Facebook. And pixel-based advertising is basically, we have our own music store, and when people accept all the cookies, we can track them and we can track their online behavior. And that's when we see, like, okay, this is our fan. Our fan likes this type of website. He scrolls through this and he scrolls through that there. And we follow him. And then after a while, we hit him again with remarketing of our products. So that's the next thing we do. So I'm going to run you through the to-dos or to-haves of online marketing. Define your target audience, your target groups. As a band, we would advise to go for your top 10 streaming countries on Spotify. Fans, and engagers plus lookalikes on Meta. I guess these are two target groups that are most important, because fans and engagers on Meta, which is your Instagram and your Facebook, are your core fans, your true fans, and you want to put out the news to them first, that there's a new single coming up, a new release coming up, because they are the ones that are actively preaching your word, and also the main fans that you want to nourish and give back first. And then you're going to increase your scope by developing lookalikes on Meta. And Meta has just a very easy feature that, based on the fans that are already following you, they can produce a lookalike fan group. And these are basically people that have the same behavior as your fans, but just don't listen to your band yet. So lookalikes is a great way of expanding your fan base and kind of appealing to new fans that look a lot and might like a lot of your music. It's kind of like an oil stain that we continue to like grow and grow and grow. Then we go over to YouTube, top 15 viewing countries on YouTube. We it's in the case of Within Temptation, they of course have a lot of fans, but they also have a lot of older fans. And the new music of Within Temptation is heavily influenced by younger metalcore bands. If I could name a few, they love Architects, for example. They listen to a lot of like younger hot and happening bands. So you can obviously hear that their music nowadays is also inspired by these bands. They're kind of like going away from the symphonic part and more into like the metal, even genty corner. So we also made a list of specific bands, and we're just going to aim for the fans that listen to those bands and see if we can grow our fan base with a younger clique, people that like similar bands such as Architects. So kind of like build upon what you have and appeal to the younger fans. And then we have to create visual assets and impactful call to actions, which is basically for a full parade. Here are a few examples that we made. For creating visual assets, we feel it's very important to make a lot of different things, from static images to video images. You just want to test what works best. So for example, we made a few images of the cover with a big call to action, but we also went for a video with the music video, and then we test out what works best. And here you can see the result. So you see the result, and this is how we advertise on Facebook, on Instagram. And what you see that there's also different call to actions, captions. So I would suggest, if you're pushing your content and promoting your content on Facebook and Instagram, create at least 5 different captions, because Meta will only push the first and foremost that gains the biggest traction, and also test with static images and with videos. Once again, Meta will push the ones that again get the biggest traction. So try to have as many nice content as possible. And here's here's the challenge that we've been looking at the past years. Online marketing has really become a bigger and very important thing of our promotion. But what we also see is that Facebook and Instagram are throttling your reach. Our posts organically don't get as much likes and views as back in the days. And even when it comes back to advertising, we have to pay more and more to actually reach our own fans. But that's not fair, we figured. So we decided to think, and we decided to go for another route. First, it was banned third parties such as Instagram and Facebook to the fan. And now we figured, okay, we need to go from the band to the fan immediately. So how do we do that? How do we build our own database? So step one, we display QR codes at shows and collect data. So during the festival shows of With Implementation, we displayed a huge QR code with the call to action that fans can win tickets to the tour and the meet and greet with Sharon if they would scan the QR code, and they could leave their WhatsApp number or email address in return for getting a chance to actually win something like that. And we tested with giving away items, set lists, and photos. And funny enough, during the tour, raffles don't work. People want to take an experience from a great night, from the show night, and take it home. So during the tour, we experimented with, hey, win tickets to this and this and that, or win an album, or win something else. But the overall winner for us in terms of collecting WhatsApp numbers and email addresses are giving people the after show photo. And the after show photo is the moment that the band has finished their show and they take a photo together with the audience. So the audience loved that because it's personal, it remembers them to that night. So we get the most hits on giving a souvenir for the people. Then step two, we follow up by email or even by WhatsApp, and we give them nice little things. On WhatsApp, for example, we offer sneak preview of songs. And one of the reasons that WhatsApp works so well for communicating with the fan, it is super, super personal. And of course, this is all a chatbot, and it's all programmed, and people are very well aware of it. But because WhatsApp is so extremely personal and in your face, because you only use it to talk to your friends or to your family, it is actually a good feature and a very cool feature that people react and respond very enthusiastically to. So we saw it working very well. And of course, how cool is it that you can listen to the snippet of a new song through kind of like a voice memo on WhatsApp. And then step three, after having left their contact details, the fans receive their goodies. So we either send the after show photo out to them by email, or we send it to them by WhatsApp. And then we follow up with them by redirecting them to our With Implementation app for more content. And in our app, we have exclusive content, such as more photos of all the shows of all the tours, more snippets, exclusive pre-sale accesses, and more. The sky is the limit. So this works like magic. Over the course of 6 months, we grew our database with over 400%. Unfortunately, I cannot give numbers, but it worked very well, and couldn't complain. So here's a success case. So our goal with growing our database with direct contacts was mainly because we were working towards the release of Bleed Out, the album, in 2023. And because we don't want to be dependent on any other platform in terms of reaching our own fans. So when we grew our database successfully with over 400%, it was actually time to release Bleed Out. And 24 hours before the announcement of Bleed Out, fans received access to an exclusive pre-sale through WhatsApp. So here you can see the message we broadcasted. It was a video by Sharon and a text and a link to our secret pre-sale. And this is the video.
Hi, this is Sharon from With Station, and our new album Bleed Out will be coming out on the 20th of October. The pre-order starts tomorrow, but we will give you the opportunity to order it before that. And then you can order it through the link below, and if you do so, you get a signed postcard from us. The first 1,000 people will get it. Thank you.
And once again, I cannot give any numbers, but it worked like magic again. And honestly, the sky's the limit. And especially coming from being a record label band and then having a music store yourself in which you see people convert and buying your records is just a very, very great thing to see. Yes, we did it. I think the biggest takeaway from all of this, it's all about giving your fans back. So what is the most important thing to bear in mind? Nourish your core fans, feed them with gifts, give them pre-sale accesses, give them anything that they make themselves feel seen and feel heard and feel part of the band and the band's existence, because they are the reason you exist and they will actively preach your words. But of course, I know that these developments all sound super nice. It all sounds super overwhelming. But what if you don't have the tools to create an app? Or what if you don't have that many fans yet that you can promise a free item to, that you can do all these tips and tricks with? Therefore, I'm also going to share a few tips and tricks on how to nurture your fan base, grow better connection with them, and just a few proven marketing ideas that we've seen work over time and that are applicable of young and big artists. It all starts with a simple like. So I think what a listener turns into a fan is that you have a personal interaction with the fan, because then you get an actual connection rather than just only, broadcasting your music. Fans want to be seen by the band. Therefore, it starts just with a simple thing such as a like. Like all the comments underneath your post, respond to all the fans' comments underneath all of your posts. And until today, this is what we still always do with a band, even as big as Within Temptation. The band likes every single comment possibly underneath their post. You can see it if you go to their social media. Also, not only the fan will feel seen, but also the algorithm of these social media see activity and they will push your content even more. So it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. And then build a community. There's nothing more fun than being a diehard fan of something and getting to share this excitement with another person. We've tried multiple social media, such as a Discord server, but what we saw working best, and I think it's also because it was not a fragmented different social media that we brought to life, but it was already part of something that was existent. We saw our Facebook group rising up with thousands and thousands of members that shared their latest releases, their live photos, their experiences with the band. And this community really brings people together, and people basically just hype each other up together with each other. We see lots of people going on travels to shows with each other. So it's nice that people actually feel part of the Within Temptation family. And then create engaging content. This is just super, super blank and super everybody would know, but I can stress how important this is, because the longer you look at a post, the more likely your content will be pushed. Whether your fans can be found on TikTok, Blue Sky, Twitter. Create content that you feel fits your target audience description and that resonates with them. So appealing images and videos will leave the fan longer on your social media page and will boost your social algorithm. And one of the latest hacks on Instagram is using Instagram carousels. As fans scroll through your post, because you have multiple photos or multiple videos, they spend more time on your feed, aka the algorithm boosts your content. And also latest features on new social media will be pushed by the social media because it's a new feature. The company wants to push it. For example, Instagram Reels is pretty new and it does a great job because Instagram tends to push their newest features rather than a simple photo on a feed. Try all tools and trends. So I just made a list of some things that we've done over the time. If you are present on TikTok, you can actually add a sneak preview of your song to TikTok. You can request your fan to maybe do something with it. do something cool with it. What we also always see working well is working with pre-save tools on music platforms. Because if you push a pre-save campaign on, for example, Apple Music, Deezer, or Spotify, the fan will actually get notified that your release is upcoming or that your release is actually happening today. And they will be brought back to the music platform to listen to your music. And furthermore, we also worked numerous times with tools that allow fans to pre-save a song in return to something cool. For example, pre-save the song and win, or pre-save the song and get a sneak preview. There are many websites and many music-oriented software companies that offer such a tool for a decent price, so even also young bands can make use of it. Furthermore, always schedule a YouTube video premiere when you are releasing a new video, and plug the YouTube video premiere link at least 5 days before the actual premiere, because you will have more time to notify people of your upcoming video premiere, and they can, of course, press the button notify me. The more people that watch it on the actual video premiere, the more you give the algorithm a great kickstart, and then YouTube will detect it as a very great content for that moment and will boost it even more and more. Talking about new features of social media, YouTube Shorts are a new tool of YouTube that are being pushed immensely. So try it out, see if it works for you. Of course, they want to compete with TikTok, so I think YouTube will do whatever it takes to also push their YouTube Shorts. And our last thing that works well for the band is doing Instagram live Q&As. During the pandemic, for example, we did that with, what is the name again? Christina of Lacuna Coil, and also Sharon did a few live Q&As with the fan, or even with a few reporters from different countries, because it's just very visible and it's very personal. So yeah, works well as well. And last but not least, be consistent. Do Instagram live chats regularly, stream shows and videos, organize online events, just get creative and do whatever it takes to be seen. And also do it on a regular basis so that people know what they're up to, and that you're a consistent and viable part of your online presence. I'm not even sure how long it took, how long this presentation has been, but that was it. And now it's kind of like time to ask if anyone has questions.
I will start.
Okay.
Yeah. Since I know that you spend a lot of your time in between two homes in two different countries, can you tell how do you actually, make that work, considering that you work with a band that's touring? So you're doing a lot of work remotely, but how does that work for you?
Well, the working remotely. So I've been the past 2.5 years. I've been working and living in Bali. And been working from there. And how it started is actually when the pandemic hit, we worked from home for years. That went quite well. And there was actually nothing bad about it, or there were no hurdles on the way of working online. Everyone found their way. And also working with international press promoters, you don't necessarily have to be in an office to talk to them because they're far away anyway. So yeah, the pandemic happened, and that's when I thought, well, if I can work from home, I can basically work from anywhere. Yeah, because also our focus was just mainly digital. If we cannot be in an office or just be physical somewhere, how are we going to do this digital? So during the pandemic, not even everyone worked from home, but we also came across very creative ideas such as streaming iconic festival shows every Friday, or doing Instagram live Q&As, for example. So everything was digital. So that also kind of helped me work remotely, made me able to work remotely.
I got another question that we've been asked. How do you approach different changes in the industries throughout the years? When do you follow sort of industry trends, and when do you successfully deviate from these kinds of trends, and what do you do more?
Yeah, well, it's industry trends are I think are there for a reason. So we always try to be on trend, and we always try to follow what is at that point an interesting thing to do. What we do see is that, for example, the trend is very digital right now. And of course, Rhythm Temptation is highly present on all online music platforms. But the band is also still very successful in selling their physical copies, because they still have a hardcore old school the fan base that just want to have that physical CD in their hands. What we see that doesn't work for the band in terms of trends is when it doesn't fit the band personally. So, for example, TikTok, a great new trend, but you can only be very successful with it if it's something that you feel something with. And of course, with the Temptation are an older band, so it's hard to make that actually work. So I would say just follow the trend and only do it if you actually can personalize it.
Okay, thank you. Then we got two questions in the chat. The first one is from Violetta. Do you pay attention to YouTube a lot, and how do you work with your audience there?
Yes, so YouTube, we work a lot with it because we find it super important to do the YouTube video premieres. It works great with that. Also, we have YouTube After Party, which is a paid feature for fans that have a membership to YouTube. And the After Party is kind of like you do a video premiere, and afterwards you can talk to your fans in a regulated, closed-off membership place, which is also very nice to activate and pay close and personal attention to the fans. And what else? Well, we do see that we have so much activity on the platform itself that we also like every comment. We talk to all the fans there, and we try to push YouTube Shorts a lot. Yes.
Okay, and another one from Vera. What are the best tools to analyze your audience and their behavior?
Ooh, I think Chartmetric is far out the best tool, Chartmetric, because it sources all the data, collects all the data from your Instagram, from your TikTok, from Facebook, as well as from all the music platforms. It keeps track of all the playlists you're in on all the music platforms. And it also kind of like gives an index on the popularity of your band and your competitors or similar bands. So Chartmetric is the first and foremost platform that I would recommend.
Okay, and we have another one from Violetta. What is the best way to prove yourself as an artist in order to be able to create a compatible project with the popular artist? What is the focus?
What is the focus as an aspiring younger audience or artist?
How to like create a project that would be compatible with being popular, and how to prove yourself as an artist.
How to prove yourself? I think it's just like, how to prove yourself. It's just doing something very different, but something very authentic, and having just a straight out story going for you. I think it's important to just have that ooze of aura or that energy, or maybe something specific in terms of clothing, stand out from the rest and have a great story that appeals to maybe a bigger audience or bigger artists. I would say maybe that's super personal. Like back in the days when Rhythm Temptation was sharing their expertise with my band, it was mainly because it was a metal band with a female vocalist. There were not many of that back then, but I think we also kind of failed because we didn't have our own image. We had lots of influences from other bands, but we didn't have our own face. So I think it's very important to have your own identity. That's it.
Okay, and we got another one from Svetoslav where you can see where you are okay with answering and how far into answering it you can be. He's asking what was the ad budget for the targeting of the Fool's Parade, and what's the typical budget allocated for album promotion in Meta Business, which are very precise questions, but maybe you can roughly somehow give an idea, or maybe how do you spread it between platforms? What is your focus in spending on ads and targeting between different platforms? Maybe something like that you can answer.
Yeah, I think our ad spend, well, for an entire album, you would say that a record label normally pushes you with, let's say, for example, 100,000 euros. So if you divide it by all the singles that you release, you would say you would probably, well, spend around 10,000 euros to one single, which you divide, of course, like across all the platforms. And we kind of do 50-50 to Meta and YouTube. So I would say that, but that's also, of course, based on the amount of fans that we currently have and the people that we want to reach. But if you're a younger band, of course, you can always kind of like shift budget. Sometimes we see things working great and something we see conversion going down and we feel that we don't want to spend that much money in, for example, a Facebook or an Instagram anymore.
Okay, another one from Vera. Also, how do you study and analyze local markets in terms of the best marketing channels, like you mentioned with the radio being still popular and widely used in Germany?
Oh God, that's a difficult one. I guess we're in a very lucky spot to have lots of like press promotion teams that we work together with. So we work together with about 15 teams in 13 different countries, which are all local print press promoters and radio promoters. And it's just very interesting to see their marketing reports because, for example, in Italy, they're super old school. They only do print promotion and radio promotion, as well as for Germany, it's mainly about radio and print. While, for example, in the UK or in France, we get marketing offers that are more focused on online. So it's kind of like talking to the right people in those countries and seeing what they come up with. And that's also what we see with the show promoters for the tours. They offer like, okay, this is what we're going to do to promote the show locally. And then I'm like, oh my God, in Germany, they don't put any budget in online. And I'm just like, oh my God, are they doing it properly? Should we do something about it? But it's their territory, it's their expertise.
Okay, next one is from Oksana. What metrics or KPIs do you focus on to measure the success of your campaign for a track, an album, or a tour?
Oh, what metrics or KPIs? I think the main number we look at is our monthly listeners and how much that varies after each single or each release. I think back in the days we set a target of having to grow our monthly listeners with a rate of 20% after each release, building up to around 2.5 million listeners after the release was done. So that's kind of like our main measurement. And of course, like on a micro level, we follow that through and we see how much the conversion rate is on Instagram or how much the click-through rate is on Facebook. So we kind of like, yeah.
Okay, next one is from Margareta Julia. We've got a lot of questions coming in. She's very grateful and she has one question. Could you tell, please, if I have on my social media pages international and Ukrainian audience, how it would be best to combine Ukrainian and English content or have a separate English account, for example, on Instagram, because she has a lot of doubts for that.
I wouldn't put a new Instagram page to life because then you would fragment your own audience and it's very hard. So I would, it's kind of like where are your goals? Do you want to be a big international artist or a big Ukrainian artist? If you want to appeal both to Ukraine and both to international territories, I would say go for English. but sometimes here and there slip in the local Ukrainian language to also appeal and feel more connected to your local fans. But I would say choose one side and go for one social media.
Got it. One that we've had before the lecture is, what is your take on single and album cycles, and how do you build out the base of releases throughout the year?
Yeah, so back in the days, and it was mostly with the record label company, we were focused on releasing albums and going through album cycles. But what we do see is with the arrival of platforms such as Spotify, there's so much music being released every day, and people listen to playlists nowadays. So we felt with the band that we needed to break away from like old school album cycles and focus on independent releases. And not only can you be more creative and write music and songs in the moment and write about topics that appeal to you, but also you can release more easily and on a more consistent basis and try and hit those important playlists. So the more content you put out, the more chance you have of being visible. So that's why also but I believe like also in general, the entire music industry has shifted their focus from album cycles to releasing streams of singles to be on everyone's top of mind.
Okay. And then what do you do in between the releases when there are no tour or nothing being released? What do you fill the space with the band?
Yeah, so that's what we kind of had, of course, with the pandemic. In the pandemic, we streamed, for example, iconic festivals every Friday. We kind of like made it a thing, like stay at home, watch a great festival with us. We did an online event, a VR event. It's all about trying to kind of like see how you can make past content relevant for nowadays, and just try and consistently post old stuff, or maybe like new stuff, such as like the whole world is watching. Was it? I think that was like the thing they made for Music Saves Ukraine back in the days, or was it something else? Which song did
that was
for
the telethons, as I mentioned, back in 2022.
Or for example, like nowadays you see so many like artists are becoming big because they have a great YouTube channel that they record like covers of, and they actually become like a big name or a big artist. Just blast content while you don't have any new.
Got a question from Olha. How do you work with the TikTok trends, and how do you not lose yourself in the pursuit of the trends?
Ooh, so TikTok is a difficult thing. So Sharon personally loves TikTok because it's creative, but it's personal, but it takes a lot of time to actually master the tools. So we had a few TikTok virals, and a few things that worked very well, but it's such a fast-paced medium and such a fast-paced thing that it's just, you really have to take your time to sit with it, to make it personal, to adapt your channel to what you want to, give to your audience. And I think TikTok for us is the hardest to conquer because the band just doesn't have enough time to also learn the basics of that one. Yeah.
Okay. Another one from Violetta. Why do you decide to work with Fuha, and what were the main points choosing such a company to work with in case when you are a big artist? Do you work with them to promote your releases, and what is the best way to make an official promo?
Sorry, is this about Fuha only?
Yeah.
Okay. I actually don't know the reason why we chose for Fuga, because my colleague Martijn, who is more into the businesses and contracts, he arranged the deal with Fuga. I think also mostly because they have a Dutch office with Dutch account manager, so it was easy for us to work with them and to communicate with them. We have a stripped down deal. We only work with them for distributing the songs, but we don't necessarily take off additional marketing and promotional services from them.
Okay. Does it take you a lot of time to make promotions or videos for the band? Do you usually edit them? A question from Maria.
Well, we have the great freedom to hiring content creators, to hiring videographers and editors for us, but we do stick to a certain timeline. So we always kind of like work backwards. So if we want to release a single in April, we know that the 3 months prior we have to fill it with like a tight schedule. For example, when you want to put out a song to Spotify, you need to at least distribute it to the platform 6 weeks before it actually comes out, because 6 weeks is enough for the editors to see it, to read your story, to read your pitch. Also, in the meantime, you work on the photos, on the videos, and all of this should be ready approximately 2 weeks before your initial release, because then you send it out to your press relations. They can localize, translate all the press statements, and also 2 weeks before the actual release gives you enough time for our editors to create cool, short, snappy visual imagery for the social media forum.
Do you feel there is a big difference when you do release a music video with a single and when you don't? And in case you don't, how do you try to replace it with something else?
Oh, yeah, that's a super difficult question, actually, because I think back in the days, music videos really made an impact. For example, Rammstein, which song was it? Which is like everyone was just like in awe of the music video. But over time, organically, videos just don't make that much of an impact anymore. So for us, it's kind of like hard to. We always feel kind of like obliged to put out a music video, but we don't want to spend too much budget to it anymore, because we also see that the impact of it and the amount of views are just decreasing. Yeah, because there's so much other platforms that have visual content, such as TikTok. And I think also maybe the concentration span of people is decreasing, because we can actually watch short and snappy content. So we see that the interest in YouTube and the interest in longer content is just decreasing, which also kind of like for us a thing.
Okay, we have another one from Maria. When we talk about great bands, do you think personal content engage fans more or repetitive interaction?
Personal content or repetitive, or both at the same time. So I think repetitive content or repetitive interaction is super important, because I think the band knows exactly like the names of all the hardcore fans that it has. Personalized content is also important. I think it works the best for TikTok. Back in the days, there was a period in time that it also worked very well on Instagram, but now overall I see a shift again to more like epic show recaps. So I think for Meta, for Facebook and Instagram, it's kind of like tilting towards like epic, big tour and show recaps. But for TikTok, doing personal content works best. And I think the combination of the two is the best.
Thank you. We have a comment from Dmitro. No questions from me, just a thank you from the Charm the Fury fan here.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Thank you.
Okay, how do you view your relationship with the fans in general? What kind of relationship is it? Who do you see the fans as when it comes to the band?
Well, just I think Within Temptation are in a better position to actually answer that question. But what I do see is that like over the years, by giving so much attention to the core fans and giving them their freebies, they repetitively comment about the band, and they become befriended with each other. And there are so many hardcore fans that go to every show, like maybe around like 20 to 30, that will show their face at every show. The band knows a lot of the fans personally by names, and they're just like super Yeah, Claudia is one of their main fans. Claudia, we have Michael, and yeah, so and the fans just very grateful because of course that's the main reason they're existing, and that's what keeps them going, and that's what keeps yeah, their spirits up. I guess that's it.
When it comes to core and sort of hardcore kind of fans of Within Temptation, do you feel like these are the folks that got into the band in the early 2000s, or do you have more new audience that is like that? And is there a difference in what they want from the band, interaction and engagement wise, or all the fans are the same in what they want from the band?
I know. I think there's a great mix of newer and older fans, and no, that's nothing. There's nothing, not really a big difference. I think what we do really see is that the hardcore fans just want every copy in their closet. They buy up all the T-shirts and they buy all the records you put out. So if you also want to survive as a band and just make a bit of money to actually go ahead and tour, nourish your fans, because they are of course also the people that will buy your stuff. Yeah.
We have a comment from Anna, and she will not get off of me until I read it. She just wanted to say that Caroline is very beautiful, smart, hard worker, and a queen. Slay. It was literally a step-by-step instruction on how to promote your musical products on the internet.
Thank you. Oh my God. That's so nice. Thank you so much.
Now I will get to live. Do we have any other questions left? Asking the people. Let me see if I have anything saved from before the lecture. Yeah, I don't think we have any questions left. So if people got nothing to ask anymore, we can start to wrap it up a little bit.
Yes, of course. Like I know the name, Epic Temptation.
So here we go. Caroline, thank you so much. It's really exciting to do this for the first time, and it's more so exciting to do this with you. We can't believe we got you to do this, and this was amazing. So thank you so much.
It's an honor, and thank you so much for inviting me and wanting to listen to my story. Yeah, and of course, like everyone who still wants advice or connection or like advice or tips or tricks, just don't hesitate to ask or reach out.
I will definitely let people know. As we mentioned, we will be following people up, and there will be a closed link to the recording to everyone who registered and those who didn't make it to the lecture. And yeah, if you will be having any follow-up questions coming, you can leave it to us and we'll forward them to Caroline and see if she can respond to them. And then there will be a feedback form as well for you to let us know if you liked it and what you would like changed. Thank you so much for doing this with us. Thank you again, Caroline. We really hope to welcome you in Ukraine sooner or later as well.
That would be very nice.
Be really exciting. And that would be it. Thank you so much, everyone. Всім дуже дякую.
Thank you.
І до зустрічі наступного четверга.